and NRCS to support conservation and profitability. Just stop by the plot on the south end of West Progress Avenue and experience how your Illinois soybean checkoff works for your farm.
Find out how you and your family can save up to 40% on the meat, produce, and grocery items you use every day by clicking the Clinton Save a Lot icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton, Farmer City, and Marilla. Find out how Pekin Insurance can give you peace of mind by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, courtesy of Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The DeWitt County Board's hearing for the Prairie Flats Solar Project is next Tuesday, and the DeWitt County Board Chair is reminding the community of what the hearing will look like. Board Chair Joe Whitty indicates this will be the first time a special use permit application will go through the county board. He notes it will look very similar to a zoning board of appeals hearing.
I'll say it's really the county's first siting hearing. We've previously had the special use process where the Regional Planning Commission would take an application first to go onto the ZBA where the hearing was conducted and then onto the board. So when the statute changed a couple of years ago, we looked at that process and we made a decision at that time to go to a siting hearing process. The application goes straight to the board. It doesn't need to go through the three-step process. I think those who have been to a ZBA hearing, it should be very similar. It's an open meeting, so we'll have a time for public comment. But then once the hearing starts, that's where the applicant, they've submitted their application with all of their evidence to support that they comply with the state statute and with our ordinances. They will have an opportunity to present their application, and they will be subject to cross-examination by anybody in the public that's got questions or questions anything. Anybody who supports the project will have that opportunity as well, and then we will give anybody in opposition an opportunity to present their evidence as to how the project doesn't comply or any issues that need to be addressed by way of condition.
According to Whitty, there are going to be two segments to this meeting. There will be a section for public comment and then another during the hearing where the public can provide evidence about the project.
That's an important distinction, right? Public comment, it's an open meeting. Anybody can come and they have up to 5 minutes to address the board on any topic. And, in that case, you can come tell us what you think about solar. You can tell us whatever you want, but it's not evidence per se about that application. So if you want to address the board and you don't have comments specific to the application, you probably belong in the public comment section. But once we start the hearing, that's what the board is going to be taking, we'll be taking a record of that. There will be a court reporter and if we need it, we'll have transcripts available. But once the hearing starts, it's anybody both for and in opposition giving an opportunity to weigh in on the application. Not generally about solar because, it's a hearing about the application. And anybody who wants to present evidence is subject to cross, although, it doesn't mean that there can be a rough cross-examination. Share your thoughts, share your concerns. What I would say is if you want to address the board, I would recommend, reading up on the state statute. Go out to your internet browser of choice, search for Illinois statute on wind and solar siting.
Because the county is mostly bound by the state of Illinois laws on wind and solar development, Whitty indicates if the application meets those standards, there was not a lot that can be done to deny the application.
And be familiar with what that statute says. It's important to note that the statute outlines what the siting requirements are for a wind or solar project. It talks about setback, noise requirements, things of that nature. And the county can't put anything on more restrictive. The statute says that if they meet the requirements outlined in the statute, the county shall approve the siting hearing. It leaves open for us the opportunity to maybe put on some conditions tied to operation. We can't put a condition on, say, that your noise levels need to be lower than what the statute allows for, right? So come in armed with that understanding, right? That we will evaluate it. We'll compare it against the statute. If it meets that, we shall approve. We have to approve. There is, if the evidence presents itself such that a condition is warranted, we can consider those and attach those to an approved application.
Whitty indicates this application is the first of many that the county is anticipating. He says tax credits expiring at the federal level are pushing developers to get their projects started so they do not lose access to those dollars. The Prairie Flat siting hearing will be at 5 p.m. on Tuesday at the county building. And every 5-year plan will be voted on at the next Clinton City Council meeting. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, City Administrator Tony Harris told Regional Radio that this plan encompasses multiple agencies and multiple scenarios.
It's the DeWitt County multi-jurisdictional all-hazard plan, mitigation plan, and that's something that's very important to me. I've been through this plan several times with my position within the county for CENTCOM, and I've been part of this for a number of years, and this is done every 5 years, and we just finished it up. We worked on it all last year. I had a different role last year in it. The previous city administrator had a role in it. This basically sets us up for any kind of hazard, that we might have, any kind of, like a weather hazard, flooding, tornadoes. It's sort of like a strategic plan to put us in a position where, if something like that would happen and we would need mitigation, then it's all planned. It's all planned out. But not only that, it also puts us in a position for federal grants. So, we are in the plan. The plan's 523 pages long. So that tells you right there that was a lot of work to do. But basically the plan puts us in a position to identify problems if we would have certain storms like flooding. We identified like Coon Creek, for instance. We've identified the areas that we know would be issues if we have certain storms. Whether it's flooding, like I mentioned, or tornadoes, winter storms. So it's all named. It's a plan where we go to when a hazard strikes us, we know where to go, and again puts us in a position where we can get federal funding during the event.
According to Harris, this plan has been utilized before and evolves because of the ever-changing challenges of emergency responses.
We went to the plan, I believe, twice. And, it's a multi-jurisdictional, like I mentioned, Farmer City, Kinney, Wapella, the County of DeWitt, Blue Ridge School District, of course, Clinton School District, DeWitt County Township, all the townships, all the fire departments. So I remember this being a big deal when we would have the meetings. We would meet once a month, and the room, we would meet in the county board chambers, and the room would just be filled with all those, a representative from all of those, if not two representatives. So a lot of work went into this. First year, I remember being involved in this the very first year, and that we had to write the entire plan from beginning to end. So that took a lot longer. I think that one took 2 years to complete. Now we can kind of keep some of the some of what we identified, like Coon Creek, that's never going to go away. That hazard is always going to be there. So we know that's there. So we can kind of bypass that. We just have to identify new hazards. And as you know, it appears to me that weather is changing. The hazards are changing. So we have to address those every 5 years to be ready, to know where to go to find help. Dust storms is on this one. Yes. Yeah. So that's one part of it too.
The City Council will take up the plan at its next meeting on August 18th. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet Service for home or